Welcome back to Ninja of the Seas. Our main focus today is none other than Kuma, the one who still holds the key to One Piece in one way or another. So, without any further ado, let's get started. Bartholomew Kuma has always been one of the most enigmatic and quietly tragic figures in One Piece. At first glance, he seemed like a tyrant, an emotionless war machine acting under the world government's orders. But as time went on, it became clear that Kuma's story was not one of blind allegiance, but of silent rebellion, profound sacrifice, and deep ancestral purpose. And now, as we stand in the final saga, a startling realization begins to take shape. Kuma's sacrifice was never just for Bonnie. It was part of a grander, ancient purpose, one that might trace all the way back to the will of Joy Boy. To understand the full weight of this theory, we need to look deeper into the layered symbolism surrounding Kuma. He was once a king, a warrior of liberation, a revolutionary, a father, and eventually, a cyborg turned slave. But across every phase of his life, there was one constant: his defiance of tyranny in the name of something greater. As a member of the Revolutionary Army, Kuma willingly infiltrated the world government to gather intelligence and protect the movement from within. But what if his reason went beyond the political? What if Kuma was carrying a torch passed down through generations, a flicker of Joy Boy's original will to liberate the world? The first major clue lies in his self-sacrifice. Kuma chose to offer his body to Vegapunk and the Celestial Dragons, becoming a pacifista, knowing full well what it meant: the loss of his free will, his identity, his mind. To anyone else, this might have seemed like the ultimate betrayal. But Kuma wasn't betraying the revolution. He was protecting it, and Bonnie was only one part of that equation. His actions ensured that Luffy and the Straw Hats could escape Sabaody and survive Marineford. He positioned himself as a silent guardian. Why? Because he recognized Luffy, because he saw something greater. And that something might just be the return of Joy Boy's will. Kuma's flashbacks with Vegapunk show us a man who wasn't just grieving for his daughter. He was preparing for a future he may not live to see. His visit to Egghead, his cooperation with Vegapunk, and the memory bubble left behind are all deliberate. Kuma wanted the truth to outlive him, but why go to such lengths? The answer could lie in the mysterious Will of D, a legacy that Joy Boy left behind, one that the world government fears so much they erase anyone bearing the initial. Kuma, though not a D himself, aligns perfectly with the ideals Joy Boy once carried: freedom, defiance, and sacrifice for the oppressed. Let's not forget Kumas Race. He's a buccaneer, a tribe enslaved by the Celestial Dragons, feared for their strength and willpower. Vegapunk himself calls them descendants of giants, potential links to the ancient kingdom. This makes Kuma a direct product of the world Joy Boy tried to protect. His blood, his history, and his suffering are all intertwined with the ancient war that once divided the world. His life is a mirror of Joy Boy's failed attempt at liberation, and his death may be a catalyst for the final reckoning that Joy Boy never got to complete. And that's what makes his story so tragic and so powerful. Kuma didn't sacrifice himself just because he loved Bonnie. He did it because he saw her future as one link in a chain that needed to continue. He knew the world government would come for her, just as they'd hunted his people, just as they'd erased the Void Century. His sacrifice was meant to keep Bonnie alive, yes, but also to preserve the flicker of resistance passed down from ancient times. Kuma's body became a shell, but his will never died. This is reinforced by one of the most symbolic moments in One Piece: Kuma walking alone, broken and battered, scaling the red line to reach Mary Joaz. Why would a man stripped of free will walk so far, climb so high, and endure so much? Because his programming couldn't erase what was already etched into his soul. Joy Boy's will doesn't belong only to those with the D initial. It belongs to those who fight for freedom, no matter the cost. Kuma was one of them. Even now, with the world on the brink of war and the Revolutionary Army rising, Kuma's role is not over. His memories, his bloodline, and his actions will continue to impact the world. Bonnie. Discovering the truth about her father isn't just emotional closure, it's narrative ignition. It's the spark that could push her to take up the mantle, not just as his daughter, but as a true inheritor of his ideals. and she's already begun. Her confrontation with Saturn isn't just personal, it's historical. She's standing against the very monster that enslaved her father, much like Joy Boy once stood against the 20 kingdoms that became the world government. Kuma's pacifist body might be gone, but his legacy is growing louder with every chapter. His story is now connected to Luffy's, to Joy Boy, to the ancient war. And that's what elevates him from a background figure to a pillar of the final saga. Kuma is the silent bridge between the ancient kingdom and the world we now see unraveling. He's proof that Joy Boy's dream didn't die. It simply waited. As the battle against the world government heats up and the truth of the Void Century begins to surface, expect Kuma's legacy to come roaring back into the spotlight. His memories, once locked away, will become keys to understanding the ancient war. His sacrifice, once misunderstood, will be seen for what it truly was, a final act of rebellion against the gods. And in that rebellion, Kuma becomes more than a martyr. He becomes a message that Joy Boy's will lives on in those who refuse to bow, even when the world itself tells them to kneel. We have come to the end of this video. See you at the next one.